school is in, and yes, we're going to be talking about lessons we don't learn, a study of the lessons of disasters, why we repeat them, and how we can learn them. Posted on July 2006, kind of old there, but it works. Amy Donahue and Robert, here we go again with these last names. Robert, Mr. T. Emergency responders intervene before and during disasters to save lives and property. The uncertainty and infrequency of disasters make it hard for responders to validate that their response strategies will be effective. However, as a result, emergency response organizations use processes for identifying and disseminating lessons in hopes that they and others will be able to learn from past experience and improve future responses. But the term lessons learned may be a misnomer. Anecdotal evidence suggests mistakes are repeated incident after incident. It appears that while identifying lessons is relatively straightforward, true learning is much harder. Lessons tend to be isolated and perishable rather than generalized and institutionalized. That we see problems persist in a serious concern. As emergency response missions expand to include broader homeland security responsibilities, the ability to capitalize on experience is ever more important. This article reports the results of a qualitative study of both the lessons themselves and the efficacy of the processes by which responders hope to learn them. The suggested citation, Donahue, Amy, and Robert Toy, I'll say that, Lessons We Don't Learn, a study of the lessons disasters, why we repeat them, and how we can learn them, Homeland Security Affairs 2 article, July 4th, 2016, at www.hsaj.org /articles/167. On February 23rd, 2006, in a press conference to release the White House report on lessons learned from Hurricane Katrina, wow, I just said that, didn't I? Assistant to the President for Homeland Security and Counterterrorism, Francis Townsend, said, "The President demanded that we find out the lessons, that we learn them, and that we fix the problems called out in their briefing concerned planning, resource management, evacuation, situational awareness, communications, and coordination." No one in the emergency response community was surprised. We know these are the problem areas. We knew they would be more Katrina ever hit the Gulf Coast. Why? Because we identify the same lessons again and again, incident after incident. In fact, responders can readily predict the problems that will arise in a major incident, and too often their predictions are borne out in practice. Even a casual observer can spot problems that recur. Communication systems fail, command and control structures are fractured, resources are slow to be deployed. A quick pursuit of the reports published after the major incidents of the past decade quickly shows this to be true. Consider the following. Hurricane Katrina, 2005, in terms of the management of the federal response, our aquaculture of command and control mechanisms, as well as our existing structure of plans, did not serve us well. Command centers in the Department of Homeland Security and elsewhere in the federal government had unclear and often overlapping roles and responsibilities that were exposed as flawed during this disaster. This lack of coordination at the federal headquarters level reflected confusing organizational structures in the field. Furthermore, the JFO, Joint Field Office staff, and other deployed federal personnel often lacked a working knowledge of NIMS, the National Incident Management System, or even a basic understanding of ICS, Incident Command System principles. From the federal response to Hurricane Katrina, lessons learned, 2016, 52. September 11 attack, 2001. It is a fair inference, given the differing situations in New York City and Northern Virginia, that the problems in command, control, and communications that occurred at both sites will likely recur in any emergency of similar scale. The task looking forward is to enable first responders to respond in a coordinated manner with the greatest possible awareness of the situation. Emergency response agencies nationwide should adopt the Incident Command System, ICS. When multiple agencies or multiple jurisdictions are involved, they should adopt a unified command. Both are proven frameworks for emergency response. From the 9/11 Commission Report, 2004, 315, 397. Oklahoma City bombing, 1995. The Integrated Emergency Management System, IEMS, and Incident Command System, ICS, were weakened early in the event due to the immediate response of numerous local, state, and federal agencies. 3 separate locations of the Incident Command Post, ICP, within the first few hours, and the deployment of many mobile command posts, MCPs, representing support agencies. From the After Action Report, Alfred P. Murrah, Federal Building Bombing, 2003-3. Hurricane Andrew, 1992. The committee heard substantial testimony that the post-disaster response and recovery to Hurricane Andrew suffered from several problems, including inadequate communication between levels of government concerning specific needs, lack of full awareness of supply inventories and agency capabilities, failure to have a single person in charge with a clear chain of command, and inability to cut through bureaucratic red tape. From the Governor's Disaster Planning and Response Review Committee Final Report, 1993-60. As these statements reveal, we repeatedly confront command and control issues in large incidents. There are but a few examples from dozens of reports that cite the need for sound command structures. Somehow, though, we fail to learn this and other crucial lessons that have been identified in after-action reports for decades. The central concerns of this paper are why that is and how we can improve. We report here on an exploratory investigation that targets 6 research questions, which I said in the beginning. 1, is it true that lessons recur? 2, what lessons are persistently identified? 3, why do these lessons continue to be identified as important? 4, why are these lessons so hard to learn? That is, why do agencies have difficulty devising and implementing corrective actions once lessons are identified? 5, how do lessons learned processes work? And 6, how can they be improved? We believe that by explicitly identifying persistent challenges, responders may be better attuned to these challenges and more able to address them in their planning and training processes. Likewise, by better understanding why these challenges remain unresolved, responders may be able to adapt their lessons learned processes to better support behavioral change and improvement. To these ends, we have conducted a qualitative analysis of response organizations, perspectives on lessons and learning. The next section describes the context of emergency response learning. We then explain our investigative approach. Following that, we present and discuss our findings about what lessons responders struggle with most and what learning approaches they use. We conclude with recommendations for improving these processes. Disasters and learning. Disasters are devastating, natural, accidental, or willful events that suddenly result in severe negative economic and social consequences for the populations they affect, often including physical injury, loss of life, property damage, and loss, physical and emotional hardship, destruction of physical infrastructure, and failure of administrative and operational systems, which Lot's daughters and them did not have all this stuff back in the day. Emergency managers and responders are responsible for intervening before and during such events to minimize the harm disasters cause and to restore order. The large-scale, high-complexity, profound urgency, and intense scrutiny that attend disasters provide a powerful motivation for responders to be good at response. To address this challenge, responders use their experience to develop systemized strategies they can follow when the chaos of disaster erupts. At the same time, the infrequency with which disasters occur makes it hard for responders to test and improve their strategies to ensure that they can be counted on to mitigate threats and hazards predictably and to resolve their consequences effectively. The appeal of learning from experience, both to avoid duplicating mistakes and to be able to repeat successes, is widely perceived. And many organizations across the emergency response disciplines have formal procedures for identifying, documenting, and disseminating lessons from incidents in hopes that they and others will be able to learn from past experience and improve future responses. Various mechanisms for sharing experience have emerged. These mechanisms are generally termed lessons learned processes and include tools like in-process reviews, after action reviewing and reporting, hot benches, and various kinds of debriefings. While these processes vary, they have the common goal of sharing performance information in order to prevent the recurrence of adverse events and actions and to better contend with situations and problems that are likely to arise again. Most processes involve some version of three core components. 1. Evaluating an incident through systematic analysis of what happened and why. 2. Identifying